Hey, Inspired Tribe, my fellow freedom lovers, John Nolan here. Thank you so much for tuning in. This is the morning after Yado. And Yado is a retreat Christine and I host 2 times a year usually. And over the past 3.5 days, we have gathered here in beautiful Cape San Blas with a little over 30 people. And what has transpired in this exact room here, in this house here, over 3.5 days is sometimes indescribable. But it exactly correlates to everything that we see going on in the world. And that's why I wanted to share this with you. When we look at the chaos today, when we look at the dis-ease, the spiritual, the mental, the physical dis-ease in the world today, when we look at the wars, when we look at the fights, when we look at the insanity, it's often easy to say, hey, this is out there and we're pointing fingers and these people need to get their act together. And of course, to a certain extent, that has merit. But what we experience in this room time and time again is something quite amazing. And I'll tell you what happens the first night as 30 people walk into a room together. There is a lot of energetical chaos in a room. Everybody's coming from a different life. Everybody's coming from a different experience. Everybody has different days even. And so they come in here. And now you have all these different energies in one room. Opinions, experiences, life stories, right? And for a moment you think, how are we going to get this done, right? There's so much division, even if the division isn't seen and felt, but you can feel it energetically. So the first thing that we always do when we start every session, right? And we have a morning session, we have an afternoon session. So every session we start by going within. It is some sort of experience, a meditation, a prayer, something that leads us into our heart. And here's the key. If we can manage within these first 10-15 minutes to together open our hearts and then allow for our hearts to shine, if you will, then these hearts begin to connect with each other. Believe it or not, in just 10 to 15 minutes of a deep meditation or a prayer, whatever you want to call it, it is possible to connect the hearts of 30, 35 people in a room. And what you call that is coherence. Hearts are vibrating at their frequency and they're connecting to each other. None of the divisions matter anymore. None of the stories matter anymore. None of the experiences matter anymore. There is a sense of love and peace in a room that is absolutely amazing. It's not hyped. It's not let's break the ceiling. That's not what this is about. It is about empowered energy, heart to heart to heart. And then because of this heart coherence, what happens is that because the hearts are open, because the frequencies in a room, because there are no disturbances, the work that we do afterwards, we go deep within, we examine belief systems, we dig deep and we shift and we change. That work is then possible because there are no disturbances. Because it is how we are meant to actually vibrate. And if you do this often enough, you become a master of doing it. And here's our, not just philosophy or intention, but here's what we know to be true. It starts with us. The chaos in the world did not start out there. It started within us. We were disrupted and we allowed it to happen. Our hearts were closed because of trauma, because of violence, because of pain, because of suffering. And it's not about guilt and shame. It's about realizing it, that the journey starts always within. And when we bring the parts within us back into balance, coherence, well, that's what we bring into the world. That's the energy that we emanate out into the world. And that's why we always say, it only takes a critical mass. It does not take the majority. And here's the beautiful thing that's happening. This place here is currently, because it's spring break time, it is surrounded by families and children, and there's a pool very, very nearby. And, there's a lot of jumping and screaming going on around us. But when we go into that heart coherence state, when we go into that meditation and really connect with each other, the space around us becomes calmer and calmer by the minute, because it is affected by our energy. Because imagine 30, 32, 35 heart fields expanding beautifully, peacefully, lovingly out into the world. Well, you know what that does? It creates peace and harmony. And this is where we are really, really at. This is what is really happening. This is what we really need to do. Create heart coherence. And so here's a question that then most people have. They say, John, does that mean all we have to do is meditate, not fix anything, not change anything? That's all we have to do. Get into the right frequency and the world will change. I don't think so. This is not my life experience. I actually believe that this is the foundation for the solution, but it isn't the whole solution. Of course, we have cleaning up to do. Of course, we have change to do. We even have fights to fight sometimes. And because of the intensity of the current situation around the world, this is a fact. However, it is how we approach all of what we see in the world that will ultimately make the difference, right? If I am in an imbalanced state, if I did not clean up my shit in my life, then that's what I'm going to carry out into the world. That's what my children are going to experience. That what's, and on and on and on the generations are going to experience. So we see time and time again in such a concentrated place and time that amazing shifts can happen within people, amazing realization and amazing changes. It isn't a magic bullet. You don't come here for 3.5 days and your life has magically changed, but you realize there is a place inside of you that we call the true authentic self that vibrates at a completely different frequency than the perception we usually have going through our days. That's just a given. We are being constantly disturbed, distracted, and manipulated, of course, with all the frequencies, with all the blasting of everything. But we can make a choice, and this is what this is all about. We can make the choice to seek that balanced state more and more and more often. Because the construct outside of us that is chaos, and that is war, and that is fight, and that is violence, can only be sustained with our energy. It can only be sustained if we energetically invest in it and with our actions support it. And we only do that because we have forgotten about the alternative. We have forgotten about our true authentic self, which is so powerful and so beautiful. What we have experienced over 3.5 days, it cannot be described. And that's why when people ask us, what are you doing at these retreats? We do not describe it, because it is really about the group of people that shows up. And we had another group of people that was willing and absolutely showed up and went all the way really, really deep. And we had amazing experiences together. And everybody now has a choice to make as they walk away from here, including us. Are we carrying more of this energy out into the world? Are we practicing it more? Are we remembering it more? Are we bringing it back to our heart space? Or are we allowing ourselves to be steered by the energies around us and have our thoughts and our reactions dictated by those energies? It's as simple as that. This is the choice. You can come and you can tell me all the excuses as to why you think it's not possible, but time and time again we have proven that it is possible. But it does require a choice. And here's what I see. This heart energy that I talked about is more powerful than all the other energies. It is pure love. And when we step into pure love, we are contagious in the most beautiful sense. We are lighthouses. And so this is what the dream is. This is what the vision is. Lighthouses repopulating the earth. Lighthouses affecting beautifully others. reaching critical mass, and I believe we are almost there, or we are there perhaps. Perhaps it's just not quite visible yet. But we're going to continue doing this. We're going to continue all of our work. And you know me, I can be edgy. You know me, I have fight in me, I have fire in me. I believe it's all a part of it. But it has to start with a pure heart of love. And so I encourage you, whether that's the prayer, whether that's the meditation, move into your heart space every day. Allow it. Even if you weren't encouraged to live like that before, that's okay. Give yourself permission to do it. You will not regret it, because you will feel so much better. You will feel so much more connected, and you'll actually experience the energy of God, the Creator, in your life. All right, thank you so much for tuning in. I'm John Nolan. We love you. We appreciate you. We'll be back with you again very, very soon. People ask me every day, John, with everything that's going on in the world, what can I do? My answer, start growing your own food. It's the best investment for your future and the future of your family. Whether you live in an apartment or have your own land, our friends at Food Forest Abundance will guide you every step of the way. Book your free consultation right now, no strings attached. Just click the link down below and get started today.